Welcome everybody to Blerdlines. This is your man Cam. With me, as always, is
the other Cam, the black man with a library card,
as well as
the Dark Lord of the Caribbean Sith known as Darth Coconut or Josh. Either one, whichever works.
And we're back talking about New York Comic Con 2025. And this year, Josh was there on the scene. He was talking to cosplayers. He was doing interviews. He was going to panels, but also he had help while he was there. So we had two special guests with us. First up, we have Chester. Say what's up, Chester.
Hello, everybody.
And as well as our friend, as well as our friend Eric. What's up, Eric?
It's good old Eve from the NYC. Wrong podcast.
And, so this year, Comic-Con was full effect. It's grown tremendously over these years. When I first went, coming from California to New York, it was super duper small. It was sharing with other conferences. It just wasn't a thing. Like California pretty much had it unlocked. San Diego was actually huge. That's where all the movie studios would go to. Now, fast forward almost 10 years, 15 years later, it's one of the biggest ones in America at this point. But Josh, this was your I think you might be right. I think it might be the world too. But Josh, this is your first time going working it. I mean, you've gone before multiple times. I've gone with you, but this is the first time where you're like, hey, I got a plan. I'm doing content. I'm on the ground. You had Chester as your second camera. Like, how was your overall impressions of Comic-Con this year? You're on mute.
You're on mute, Josh.
I knew that. It was pretty much my usual experience with the camera slung over my shoulder. There was a lot of there were a lot of places that I didn't even know existed inside of Javits Center that they hold interviews in, and I thought I'd seen all of that place between the auto show and the travel show and the Engineer Society convention that they have there, and all the other things that I've been to at Javits. I thought I'd seen every corner of this place over the last. How long has this place been? Like 30, 35 years it's been in existence. Overall, it was a good time. You enjoy your work when you enjoy your work. It didn't really, aside from the 17,000 steps a day that I was averaging, it didn't really feel like work so much. It was just, I'm going to see thing, I'm going to do thing, I'm going to, going from one end of the Javits Center to the other to see or do thing is just the thing I was seeing and doing was work more often than not. But it was a good time.
Yeah, and it started in 2006, so it's almost at 20 years. Next year will be the 20th year, which is pretty crazy. And then Chester, you go on for real. COVID. And Chester, Coach Chester, you go pretty much every year, right?
Yeah, I linked up with these two guys, Josh and Eric, about 5 years ago, something like that. But I'm on my 10th.
It's way more than that.
Everything's running together for me. 10th or 11th year in a row. I also had gone back in 2007, 8, and 9. And then I fell off for a little bit, I needed the disposable income, so I put that to the side. But I came back, and it's a priority now. Every year.
Yeah, and then Eric, you've gone as well, but you got to go more as a civilian this time. You got to just dress up, go, enjoy the panels, and you usually get a pro pass as well. But you usually are almost there almost every year as well.
Yes, correct. I've been since I want to say 2013. Yeah, my kids have grown up with me going to Comic-Con with me. So, yeah. But I usually get the pro or press pass. I've gotten the press pass once for BET, but I just go as a fan and enjoy myself.
And then for you guys, like, what was the best thing? Give me one thing each that you guys enjoyed about it this year that was kind of surprising. I'll do Josh first.
I would say, I don't know that there were any huge surprises per se. Oh, wait, no, that's not true. The Invincible panel, Lee Pace being introduced as Thrag. That was probably the biggest surprise. I didn't see that coming, and it definitely. And Lee Pace was just on some cool out. He was just on some, hey everybody, with my long hair, just hey everybody, playing Thrag. Which is funny because when they sort of surprise introduced him, like he did a line from the Thrag line from the comic. And so he recites that, and everybody's like, "Who in the hell is like? We know what this line is, but who in the hell is that?" He comes out. He's
I heard that voice right away.
Yeah. I kind of knew who it was. It sounded. I was like, "Yo, that sounds like somebody from Foundation." I just can't put my finger on it. Before I could piece it together, he came out and he's like, got his red motorcycle jacket on. He's got his, his perfectly coiffed hair, and just,
and he had a wardrobe change because he was at a panel before.
Right, that's true. Right,
he was at the Running Man panel before that.
Oh, right.
Yeah, he was just kind of on some cool out, just in the chair on some, hey everybody, Lee Pace, like I am. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't. It was super casual. That was probably the most, and the Star Trek panel, of course, which is always a personal favorite of mine.
Yeah, and then Chester, what was your favorite?
It's kind of a toss-up, and all of it I have to tie to Josh. Meeting with the director that we spoke with, Timur. How do you pronounce his last name again, Josh?
Bekmambetov.
Yes, he directed Wanted, which most people is most famous for. But I know him. I saw his first movie, which was Night Watch, which if you have not seen it, you need to drop what you're doing and go really watch it. And during his interview with Josh, he was really talking about a lot of technical stuff and whatnot. And I'm the second camera. I'm not interfering. I'm just snapping away. And after the interview was done, I couldn't pass up the opportunity. I was like, hey, I just want to let you know, like I was a really huge fan of Night Watch and Day Watch, and can we get some more? Because the way Day Watch ended, it didn't feel like the story was done. And he got really animated, and he started talking with me about that. And I was telling him, oh man, I love what you did with the subtitles. And for those of you who haven't seen Night Watch and Day Watch, they make the subtitles like part of the story. Like there's one scene where it's raining.
Don't spoil it. No,
I'm not spoiling it. I've learned from Eric and Josh not to do that. Mm-hmm. But there's one scene where rain is happening, and the subtitles drip down like raindrops and fill in on the bottom of the screen, which I thought was really cool. And he got really animated when I started talking about that, because he's like, oh, this isn't just some guy read off my IMDb page. This is a real fan. And he really started to appreciate that. And that was just a cool interaction. It was brief. I mean, it couldn't have been more than 2 minutes, but it was really cool and a unique experience that I've never had at Comic-Con. And the other was when we got to meet with a couple of cast members from the new Star Trek show. And one of he plays the Klingon. He was there with his dad. And Josh doesn't know this, but I was just observing, and he's an immigrant. Josh is the son of an immigrant, and to watch the three of them really like vibe like people was just a really cool thing. I think I got some cool pictures of them too. So, look forward to that. But that was a really cool thing to just remember that, like, at the end of the day, these guys we see on the screen, they're actual human beings. And they have their own life stories that resonate with our life stories. Like, I'm not an immigrant. No, I mean, my family's been here since, it's a dark story how we got here. But I can definitely relate to that feeling, and it was cool to see that, to witness that.
Yeah, that's super dope. And then Eric, what was your favorite moment?
My favorite moment is selfish and self-indulgent and narcissistic. I decided to cosplay as Mr. Milchick from Severance. My favorite moment was walking around the con and being stopped every 5 minutes, and people yelling out in the middle of panels, "Mr. Milchick, Mr. Milchick!"
It was every 5 steps, Eric.
Every 5 steps. We were down at Artist Alley. I kept constantly. The guys just took my bags and well, we are entourage now.
Can I ask a question? And I'm speaking to the whole panel when I ask this because you guys been there. Can you guys give me, for someone who hasn't been there, a quick synopsis of what to expect and what I should be doing as a guest when I go to a convention like this?
I mean,
expect lots of crowds.
If I tell everybody the same thing, because you're not the first person to ask. It's everything that you think it is. It's cosplayers, loads of comic books, lots of nerds, some well socialized, some not. But then there's this whole other aspect of it that you're not aware of. And depending on what your interests are, that's where you'll sort of magnetize to. If you're into shows, they got panels. If you're into paraphernalia and memorabilia, statues, action figures, starship models, you name it. If there's a nerdy or geeky thing that you're into, there are probably 10 outlets for that thing that's there. And it's just, and all in all, it's a good time. And it's, you don't have to indulge everything. You just have to go for what you're interested in. You don't have to, prime example, the first time I took my daughter, she hadn't asked because she thought she had to cosplay. And I'm like, dude, you see me? Have you seen me cosplay even once? Like, I ain't never left the house dressed up to go to Comic-Con not 1 year. So why did you think you not? Hey, don't start.
Not yet. We'll get you.
I was like, you don't have to. Like, you can just you throwing your sweats and a jacket and come through, man. Like, just bring money. But other than that,
but you gonna do
it. Yeah. And I would say too is it's cool because what I like about it is it's a good mix of like local and like entertainment stuff. So you'll have your big booths for whatever entertainment company. They have larger panels like for whatever show. That was the one thing about San Diego that I didn't like about it. It almost tended more towards entertainment industry, less to like the people. And New York had a good balance where they have their big panels, they all that, but they still have a big row of just people just selling, comic books or t-shirts, stuff. Artist Alley used to be small. Now it's huge. And Artist Alley has all artists, creators, and it's anyone too. Of course, you have heavy hitters that everyone knows, but then you'll have the random indie artists that just want to sell their books or they sell their prints. So it's a good mix of like the indie person plus the bigwigs, and I like it because now when you go to something like Artist Alley, what I started to do is I started to gravitate to almost every Black person in Artist Alley just to check the work out, support if I like the stuff, but at least start to look out for it. And now that anime is bigger for the kids these days, you're starting to see a lot more of the cosplayers be more Black kids now, where before it wasn't the case, say 10 years ago, but now it's kind of shift a little bit. So it's a good mix of just almost a sensory overload, but it's kind of fun because you don't, like you said, you can just go as a regular person and be like, this is insane. Or you could dress up, hop in and find your people, depending on what you cosplay on, you'll find probably one other person doing the same in that same realm. And then now you guys are friends.
I will say this, not to cut you guys off. I went to Burning Man 2010. The way Josh explained it is exactly how I explain Burning Man to people. It is everything you heard and everything you don't know. You find all walks of life. I actually was sharing a plate of lamb giblets with the lead singer of Fishbone and didn't even know it. So again, you mingling. There are no hierarchies there. Everybody's there for a good time. And the way it sounds, Burning Man approach to the Comic-Con is the same way. So now that I have a better idea, when I do hit my first convention, I'll have a better sense of how I'm gonna hit the ground running. So I appreciate y'all for that insight.
I would say
I think we need a third person for next year.
Yeah.
A fourth person, sir.
There's an additional element though. And Josh can speak to this because me and Eric, we had kind of mastered the system and we kind of pulled Josh into it. There's so much to do for those that are into this thing that you can get like overwhelmed. It's like, oh, there's this panel. Oh, there's this thing and this thing. And then by like 2:00 in the afternoon, you run around to try to do everything and you've accomplished nothing. And they publish the schedule beforehand. They give you an idea about who's going to be an artist. They tell you who's going to be in Artist Alley. They tell you who's coming for autographs and signings and all of that. Whatever of those things that you're into that's published before you go, it would behoove you to take a look at the schedule and plan out the stuff that you absolutely need to do, the stuff that you'd like to do, and the stuff that would be cool if you got to, but if you don't do it, you don't care. Because that way you know that, hey, this panel at 12:00 I absolutely have to do, because that's the thing I definitely want to be at, and you can go do that. But if you get caught up in walking the sales floor and one of those, third tier things pops up, you don't feel like you're missing out on anything because you've made the mental math that what I'm doing right now is more fun than what I could be doing. So really,
100%. And Chester is absolutely right. I would go to Comic-Con and just sort of meander and walk in and be like, ooh, that's cool. Ooh, that's cool. Like just once letting ADD control everything. and it was a Friday that the last time that I did that was a Friday, went with someone, ditched them. And as soon as I left, that person ran into Eric and Chester. And I was like, this is extraordinarily organized for Comic-Con, what these guys are doing. And they were like, yo, like, yeah, like we know what panels we want to go to. We know that this happens at this time, that happens at that time. And in between those two things, we can roam around. But like 15, 20 minutes before the thing starts, we need to be over there. I was like, their lives are really together in a way that mine is not. And so the following day, I think as if to provide proof that their method works, the following day they were like, all right, meet us at, I think it was Hulu Theater. Went to Hulu Theater. It was the Daredevil panel. It was the Punisher panel. It was the Good Omens panel. It was something else. And then the payoff was, I was going to say the payoff was Into the Spider-Verse. And they not only did a panel with the voice cast and the producers, they showed half the damn movie. I was like, all right, I'm sold. If I wasn't sold before, if I didn't know that, if I had any misgivings about whether or not these brothers are right about their methodology, very clearly they are onto something that I am not. Because I've been sitting here for like 2 hours and this is everything that I would have wanted to go to today. And I'd probably still be at Javits right now while this was going on.
Oh, the other thing too is you want to really open yourself up to new experiences. Because, and Eric and Josh will tell them this, the last time they had a Venture Brothers panel, I'm like, we have to go to this panel. And both of them were like, I like the Venture Brothers, but you know what? Like, no, I basically grabbed them by their ears and physically dragged them to this panel. And Josh, tell me about your experience at that panel. You're on mute.
Yeah, I was like, Venture Brothers is cool. It's all right, And he was like, no, you have to come. He just kept going on. This is more than 1 year that he was like, you got to do it. If they do it, you have to come. I'm going, you're coming. And so that last year that they did it, he basically, like, he just dragged me. I was like, all right, man, I ain't got nothing else to do. I want you to shut up about this. So I'm going to go. and I'll be damned that was not the single best panel that I've been to in all the years I've been going to Comic-Con. And it wasn't about the show. It was literally about everything else happening in the room and nothing about the show. Pure comedy. I've not laughed at a panel that hard in my entire life. In all the years.
Yeah, and those are the and those are like the moments that like for especially for Comic-Con, some of the best moments are like when they're not even talking about whatever they're there for, but the people are just vibing and having a good time. And I think that's the part where like a lot of the celebrities, when they come, they enjoy it. Like especially the ones that like the super famous ones, they always dress up and they always cover their face so they can just walk like a normal human and then like buy random stuff.
Daredevil does it every year.
Like, every year, Charlie Cox will do that all the
Charlie
time.
Cox
He'll like,
he dressed up as Bluey one year.
Every year. And so and then also too, like when I went to San Diego, they did what was the one? Oh, San Diego, that was a long time ago actually, but it was during Lord of the Rings, and Elijah Wood was signing autographs and stuff like that. And then but one, there's no way he could sign all of it, and he knows this too. So like the whole place was packed and everyone's dressed up as orcs, elves, freaking like you name it. And then he basically jumped on top of the table, like yelled to the back of their line, and then everyone else roared and then started banging their like armor. So like if you're a regular person passing by, you're like, what the fuck is going on? But if you were there, you're just like, yeah. And so it was one of those things where like, again, the stars actually get involved with the fans. They enjoy it. Everyone's respectful in that respect. And I think that it allows for more like fun moments like that. So you can actually like enjoy it. And you, like I said, you might run into people all the time because a lot of the celebrities they'll dress up. Like I said, Charlie Cox from Daredevil, he legit goes every year and he doesn't tell people. And people don't find out literally to either someone like he pulls his mask off or he talks about it like a week later. He's like, oh yeah, I was at Comic-Con. It was fun. I went on this day. I saw this.
I bumped into him last year.
Yes.
I bumped into him and didn't know who he was. I was like, wait a minute. I bumped into him. It had no clue. I was like, who's this guy with a weird ass blue face? I didn't know he was dressed as Bluey.
He had the Arsenal. I was gonna say he had the Arsenal jersey on. I remember that. Yeah.
Because I was gonna ask you guys if you do bump into a celebrity, you don't really out them. You don't be like, oh my god, it's such and such, or you just be like, keep the conversation. Yeah,
keep it quiet.
Right. Yeah,
because you know they want to enjoy it. You let them enjoy it.
I had a near miss. A few years ago. I was at the Alex Ross. Alex Ross has like an exhibit where his comic book covers are sort of portraitized in on canvases. And so I leave my boy and I'm like, yo, I'm gonna go over to Midtown Comics across the way. No sooner I leave, apparently Mark Hamill shows up. Mark Hamill is looking at the stuff. They clear the place out. He's with security. He feels bad and is like, and people are lined up to come back in. So he sticks his head out and he's like, oh man, I didn't realize that we're going to do all of this. Like, I just wanted to come see the Alex Ross art. All right, listen, everybody who's online, stay online. As soon as I'm done looking around, I will sign autographs. I will take pictures. I will do whatever. I really did not think it was going to be all of this. I'm so sorry. I'm over at Midtown Comics missing all of this. And so this is done. He comes and goes. He takes pictures with everybody. He does the whole thing. Just as he leaves, I come back because timing is perfect that way. I come back and my boy is like, you're not going to believe what just happened. And I was like, okay. I mean, what? Alex Ross showed up? He was like, no. Mark Hamill was here. I was like, oh, cool. He was like, no. He was here and he did autographs and he like took pictures. I have a picture with him. He shows me the picture. I'm like, you got to be shitting me. And then he goes, and then he did my voicemail message as the Joker. I'm finished for the day. I don't believe it, like perfectly bracketed. I walk away. He shows up. I come back and he's just finished like seconds before.
To be fair, he stole Kevin Conroy's move on that one because he used to do that for people at Comic-Con too. With the voicemail.
Yes.
I'll give you a juxtaposition of an exact event at the Javits Center. The last 2 years, 2 years ago, they started Fanatics Fest, which is basically the sports version of Comic-Con. Basically, the owner of Fanatics went to Comic-Con and said, why don't we have something like this? So they did that. They've had the last 2 years. You do not get those type of interactions there. There they have the athletes are ushered through with security, state troopers, and whatnot. They're not stopping there like that, interacting with you. Also, the fans there are not how they are like at Comic-Con. The fans there are they're like sports fans. They could be a little bit rude and everything. That's the juxtaposition of the two, where you're like, okay, nerd people and geek people are so much more different and down to earth and relaxed. Whereas sports people are like, yeah, sports. I like sports, but still,
Like they're very in your face.
We got to remind ourselves, fan is short for fanatic.
Fanatic. Yep.
100%.
And you're right, and that's the Fanatics Fest.
Well, yeah, it's a good juxtaposition because it's very much a sports Comic-Con, basically. And a lot of the touches are the same, but like Eric alluded to, the atmosphere is different. The interaction that you get with the athletes is literally them passing by, being whisked away by 1,000-person security team. Who was it? Who was the wrestler that we blew past last year, Eric?
Which one?
There was Johnson, Owen, Seth Rollins.
No,
there we go. Seth Rollins.
It was what's his name? You asked him for an autograph, and he was like, "No," because he never breaks character.
No, that was at Comic-Con. This is at Fanatics Fest.
This is at Fanatics Fest. Yeah, and so literally, it's every person with a camera and with a video camera or a DSLR snapping away and taking video and following his dude. He's got his shirt like 5 buttons open, and he's just kind of strolling through like an ain't shit. This is an everyday thing, no big deal. Meanwhile, there's state troopers on some, stay back, everybody. It was ridiculous. And nothing like that ever happens at Comic-Con.
I mean, a complete juxtaposition to that would be my interaction with DDP, Diamond Dallas Page. For those of you who don't know, he actually does yoga now. And I got a photo with him, which I paid for, but I had like a 20-minute conversation with the guy. And, I told him back when I was younger, for those who don't know, wrestling used to be territories, right? So you had your New York territory, your Midwest, your Southern and whatnot. For Ric Flair and all of those guys, you never saw them in New York City. But my mom's from Virginia, so I would go to my grandmother's house and I would watch down there. And, that's why I watched the AWAA, which became WCW. Anyway, I was telling him that because my cousin had recently had a stroke. And I did not ask him for anything at all. I was just telling him, and he's going to get a real kick about hearing about me talking with you because, we used to watch that, with our grandfather together. And he reached into his pocket. He took out, and he gave me a free 1-month subscription to his yoga studio to give to my cousin to help him get his mobility back. Just
give you a free hit.
Yeah, just because. You're a big fan. You told me this great story. Wow, your cousin's in a rough spot. Here, take this. Those are the types of interactions you get at Comic-Con because, especially as a Black nerd of our age, it was rough growing up. We didn't really have a safe space where we could be ourselves. We had to read, we had a small group of friends that we could be cool with, but I couldn't just come into school and start talking about the X-Men unless I wanted to get punched in the face, which happened. But when you come to Comic-Con, everybody there is into whatever you're into, and we're not judging you. We've been judged enough. And this is our space, and we're going to enjoy each other's company, and we're going to have a good time, and we're going to put out as much love for our community as we can. And you don't get that everywhere. With Josh and Eric talking about Fanatics Fest, that's not a love fest for the genre, for the fans. It's its own thing, but it's not the same feeling that you get when you go to NYC Comic-Con.
Yeah. And I think that's the part that's kind of cool too, because now as it's more embraced in Black culture, you're starting to see a lot more kids that are into anime and into comic books and all that. And the movies and stuff has helped with that as well. But it's cool because now, like you said, they all have spaces that they can go be weird with other weird people and be weird together and make weird groups and have fun and enjoy that. Because when we were younger, our little group was very small, and we saw the one person or the other person and be like, "Oh, yo, you like comics too? Cool." And I think it's really interesting that now, and it is good that you can see it more, because I think Josh and I, we went to Brooklyn, was it Brooklyn Comic Book Fest? That was like 2 years ago, 1 year ago.
Comic-Con?
And it was, it was like a Brooklyn Comic Con kind of thing. It was a lot more cosplay than it was comics, but it was like the first one or second one, so they're getting their sea legs. But the coolest part about it was that it was like 80% Black and in the middle of Brooklyn, and folks was dressed up. They had artists, they had comic book artists, indie artists, and so it was cool to see a lot of space for everyone coming in, and everyone enjoyed it. There was a good conversation. It was a good feeling of the space, and everyone like had good interactions. And so that was to me, is like they have some years to go to get to a good space and organization wise, but like just providing that space, like I said, if you're 13, 14 years old comic kid, and you can go find your people pretty easily now. And I think that's the part that's like really, really, really cool. Before I wrap everything up, I was going to say, go ahead.
The thing that I liked about that was it was really authentic. Like it wasn't, trying to be something it wasn't. I think, was it Phil Lamar that was the big
yes,
the big guest that year?
Too, yeah.
Yep.
And he spoke.
And so before I wrap it up, I was going to say, overall, I think for Comic-Con now, and like that, it's been around for almost 20 years. New York, like I said, started small. It was, a little rough, but in the last 5 to 7 years, really hit a stride, not counting COVID. But it's made it a space where it is accessible to a lot of people. And they've organized, even like the tickets are kind of crazy, but you can still get, your single day and enjoy it. And bring the fam. It's not like you're just going to sell out or anything like that. So I would say just in general, like I'm really glad that to see where Comic-Con has come to now, because the more you go, like you said, you see the families, you get to see the kids, you see all the different walks of life kind of mingling together, all kind of under the same banner of like, we like the same weird show that you like, and now we're friends,
And I went before I wrap it, San Diego. Oh,
yeah, that's what I say. That's what I say. Right before I wrap it up, I was going to ask you, Eric. Like, you got to go to San Diego this year. A couple good like drops came. Nothing crazy, but it was still pretty cool. What did you think about San Diego compared to going to New York?
San Diego was a little bit of a different experience for me. I got tickets by a friend who's an executive producer of different animated shows. Like we met the guy who's the current voice of Bugs Bunny, and he does Bob's Burgers, and met a couple other voice people and did his panel. For that one, it's so much harder to get tickets, but the difference between the two is that New York is all contained within Javits, right in that area. San Diego is like the entire city becomes it. So if you go to San Diego, if you're not one of the lucky 150,000 people that get to go inside, you can go outside and do things. They have different activations. The only problem is with those activations is you're going to be in lines for a long time. And you have a family of 4 with a wife who's like, I don't like this stuff. You're not going to be able to do all that.
So here's the added bonus of being in San Diego. Tacos.
Yes. Oh, God. Yes. Everything about, put it like this. I did not want to come back after being in San Diego. We stayed in Coronado Island. It was beautiful. We did one day at Comic-Con inside. We did another day doing stuff outside, and the rest of the time we spent doing stuff in San Diego. And I think for anybody who's coming for New York City from outside the city, you have to take it with that same approach as well. You are not only at New York City Comic-Con, you are in New York City. That's a huge vacation. Both of those places are a huge vacation. You can just go one day, but then the rest of the days do stuff in the city itself. And there's like after parties you can go to. We haven't taken advantage of that. We're going to take advantage of that next year. Josh and Chester. We're going to an after party.
I after parties that you guys have on my Instagram page. I got a picture of Darth Vader cage dancing. So this kind of wild.
Oh, we've been trying to get into after, but like we've intended to go, and then when we look, a month before before the actual event, it's already sold out. So, we just need to be on our game a little earlier, a lot earlier, apparently. So it's not, don't make it sound like we've been avoiding going. We've been trying to go.
I've gone to some too, and it's kind of the same. It's a mix of like industry parties and then like the public parties, and then the ones that are just like not even after parties. They're just like, yo, we're all gonna be at this bar and go hang out. And I think those are the ones that like a lot of the artists and the creators, their ones. And then there's like the official ones, usually like Image or like Marvel will have them. And like even the Marvel one, it's not really that dope. It's the workers, some artists maybe, and then some of the actors. But at least it's like free, you got free foods and that kind of stuff.
The year Watchmen came out, I got an invite to the HBO party, which was in the pavilion across the West Side Highway. That was pretty dope, and it was open
Chester
bar.
Didn't tell us about that at all.
Because I only had. I did tell you. You said you didn't want to go. Stop lying.
Nope.
I wound up going with my friend Julio. Because both of you like, nah, man, I'm busy.
Friends who let you down. Friends who'll be around. When you need, sorry, copyright.
You see, right? You see how they do.
So to wrap this up, I was going to say, for you guys, you said you guys have been going to multiple Comic-Cons, and you guys go every year. You guys make it a thing. It's like a priority. Why is that? You like I said, it's like you've been doing it over a decade. For some of you, but why do you make sure that you go to Comic-Con every year? I'll start with Eric.
It's fun. It's fun to do. You go with your people. It's fun. You see stuff. It's 4 days out of 365 days a year. You prepare for it. You look forward to it. There's panels. There's cosplay. There's the show floor. You hang out with all your geeky and nerdy friends. You meet some more geeky and nerdy friends. It's an entire event where it's a whole damn festival. New York needs to get on the ball and do it like how San Diego does and make the whole damn city Comic-Con. You can easily do it.
That'd be crazy. Chester?
I mean, I think I touched on it a little bit. I was a bit traumatized by how I was treated as a child with being into the comic book stuff. And for 4 days out of the year, I feel I'm surrounded by my people, and I get to everything else that sucked the other 361 days, I don't have to think about. And it's worth the price of admission every single year.
Mm-hmm.
That's dope. Josh?
Multiple things. On the one hand, as a media professional, going to see other media professionals and other media things going on. The connection to work, the part of work that we all enjoy. There's that aspect. Then, there's obviously all the things that Chester and Eric mentioned. It's just good fun. It's just a good time. Being 6'3" and being the size I am for most of my life, I didn't quite have the trauma, because you definitely would catch the smoke if you tried to step to me while I was at a comic book store on some, why you into that nerd shit? You might get punched in the mouth. But that said, it's good fun. Like and I think one of the folks that I interviewed on the show floor kind of put it best. She said, you have to be a fan of something, even if it's not comic book or nerdy stuff or geek stuff. Be a fan of something and then engage that thing as a fan, as someone who.
And her husband summed it up. Her husband summed it up with, geek shit is cool.
Yeah, it just is.
It really is.
It really was. And it's a good time. Like, it may not be everybody's good time. I will confess, it's not, I wouldn't say it's an acquired taste, but if you're not into it, you may not enjoy yourself. But to say that, if you went and you're into something that also has an adjacent connection to Comic-Con or a presence at Comic-Con, that you at least won't enjoy that thing. It's nigh unto impossible. So I guess the guy that I interviewed summed it up perfectly. Yeet shit is cool, man. Like it is cool, and there's a lot of cool people there. It rotates back to the thing that I said at the top. It's all the things that you think it is, and a bunch of stuff you think it's not. And part of the things you don't realize it is that there's regular folks and like people that you would never think to see. There was brothers that I know was from around the way that was either from the Bronx or Brooklyn, somewhere in the hood. And it was like, oh, yo, son, they got this one goes over there. Like, when do you ever see that? When do you ever see that? You know what I mean? And I could tell that they were first timers. And if I wasn't rushing off to go to go cover something else, I absolutely would have interviewed those brothers. Because I know it would have been like, yo, son, I ain't never seen nothing like this. I thought it was, all this geek stuff, you know what I'm saying? It was just, and yo, they got Funkos over there. They got the Toei animation over there. They got Bandai over there. Literally, this is what's happening right behind me as I'm folding up my camera from another interview. I'm like, yo, they got Dragon Ball Z over there, son. Look at the size of that Goku, B. Like, it was like that. And I feel like most people who go to Comic-Con will probably have a similar reaction, if not that animated. Internally, you're going to be like, holy crap, I did not know all of these things that I was into or had seen in other places, or that my kid's into, or my little brother's into, or my next door neighbor's kid is into, that they won't shut up about. I did not realize all of this stuff is represented here.
Yeah, that's dope. And I think that's the kind of the coolest thing. Like one of the creators, they did that thing where they would just ask people that were cosplaying what they do as their job, and it would literally just run the gamut. It could be everything from creative to accountant to social worker to executive, and it was just like, yeah, this is my time. Like one of the guys had this crazy, like really involved cosplay costume, and he was like a VP of like some accounting firm or something like that. And so, but it was cool that they had that. I like that everyone comes from like a walk of life. So that's really, really fun. Well, thank you guys for helping us. The content came out really well. We're getting good feedback from it. Thanks everyone that's watching, liking and sharing it and stuff like that. We have some interviews on the way that's going to be coming as well. Also, before I finish up, Josh has something to say.
I mean, they're here, obviously. But I want to give a really big shout out to Eric and Chester, who, Chester was with me pretty much lockstep for about 75% of the stuff that I was doing. But even Eric was like, yo, you want to go over there? Yo, you might want to take a picture of that. Yo, I'm a block off over here. Get a zoom of that. Like he was sort of TDing the whole, quarterbacking in a lot of instances. And I know me, I'd have gotten it done one way or the other because that's just me. But having them there in the roles that they played, Eric in a very unofficial, casual, didn't see him for half the day, and then he'd be like, yo, so what'd you get? Oh, I got this, and this. Oh, yo, look over there. You might want to shoot that. Word, yeah, all right, let me set up the camera. And Chester, likewise, pointing out stuff, like we were at the quick anecdote. We were at the Star Trek. The Star Trek panel, and I'm busy shooting the panel, and then he notices that I forget the actress who plays Uhura. She comes down off the stage and sort of makes her way to the side door. Didn't notice the side door before. He's like, "Yo, look over there." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, that's her. Cool." So we're shooting. I continue shooting because I'm focused. But then when we were done, he points it out again. He's like, "Yo, we should go in there." All right, man. Hold up the camera. Go in the room. The entire cast is there, and the entire cast is doing all sorts of, press avails, and they got the backdrop and all of that. And the conversation that he mentioned that I had with the West African brother who plays the Klingon on the show was like he said, it was great. It was a really good, really nice, his pops was there. I forget where in West Africa they're from. Forgive me. But it was just a great conversation. It was just really free flowing. We talked about being children of immigrants and what have you. And I almost got an interview with him. I pulled out. I was like, yo, we're doing all this talking. I can set up my camera. You mind if I get a couple of minutes with you and your dad? Oh, yeah, sure. No problem. Just as I was about to set up, a rep comes over and is like, hey, all of this stuff is for StarTrek.com. I was like, But it's little things like that having a second person with you who's not necessarily focused on the things that you're focused on was hugely helpful. And that alone was just a huge boon and a huge boost. And things like that both of them sort of pointed out, well, I'm, like laser focused and tunnel visioned on the thing that I'm there to do, that they would point out that really, really helped me sort of have a second set of eyes in the back of my head that wouldn't necessarily be there otherwise. So, in front of the world, thank you both very, very, very much. I could not have had the same impact and gotten the same footage without both of you.
You're welcome.
100%. I wanted a big turnout because it was really cool, getting a lot of good feedback from it. So I'm glad you guys got to help. Josh, I'm glad that you put all this together. You hit us up 3 months ago. It was like, yo, I'm going to Comic-Con, doing this thing. And we're like, we'll figure it out. And so it came out well. I'm really happy with it. Everyone look for the interviews coming shortly. Also, we got a bunch of stuff going on. Don't forget to like, subscribe, join the Discord, all those things. And anything else? I forget anything else? No, that's it. But you know what it is, Blerdlines, and we out. Peace.
Peace.